Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Slouching towards Thatcham podcast, which showcases the very best of UK parent bloggers. I'm your host Tim from Slouching towards Thatcham. Every week a fellow parent blogger talks about and reads one of their favourite posts, and I do the same with one of mine. It's as simple as that. Bite-sized chunks of blogging brilliance. This week, I'm delighted to be joined by John from the blog Dadyougeek. Hi there, John.
Hi, Tim.
To start with this evening, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, and your blog?
Brilliant. So, I blog and tweet everywhere. It's Dadyougeek. I chose the username because I'm a dad, obviously, and I'm a bit of a geek. And my kids kept saying, "Dad, you're such a geek." And naturally, my Twitter handle developed from there, and then I started blogging. Mainly blog about being a dad and laugh about my girls. I've got two girls. One's 11, one's not a girl anymore. She's a young lady. She's 19, happily married to Mel. And yeah, my life goes on the blog in a filtered form because obviously when you're blogging, it's only so much your family are happy for you to share. And that is always at the back of my mind when I am blogging. And I kind of mingle family posts around tech and my love of anything to do with technology or geekiness.
That's great, thanks. So today you're going to be reading a post about an experience with one of your daughters. So can you give us a little bit of background about that?
Yeah, so this post has stemmed from a feeling I've had over the last year, I think, where it suddenly realised to me that my girls are growing up, and they're growing up very quickly. As I said, the oldest is 19, she's 20 next year, and I make reference to that in this post slightly. And the younger one, little geek, she's 11. So yeah, it's dawned on me that they're getting a lot older, and probably so am I.
Yeah, aren't we all? So in that case, before you and I get any older than we already are, let me hand the reins over to you.
Thanks, Tim. Cheers. So the post is "My Days Are Numbered." It's not as drastic as the title of this post might suggest, but something is changing very fast, and that is how quick little geek is growing up. She had a sleepover this weekend for a school friend's birthday. By all accounts, she enjoyed herself and was even treated to breakfast at Beefeater as part of the deal. Very clever of her friend's parents, as apparently up to 2 kids eat free per adult. I didn't even know this. Anyway, as far as the sleepover goes, this was a late pickup, midday, which for me was a very welcome lay-in. Shame the missus still isn't well and suffering with this damn cold that's doing the rounds, and was up at 5 a.m. I was welcomed by little geek looking very tired, not that she would admit it, and a little grumpy. Once in the car, she asked to go home quickly, and then could we go to the cinema. I wasn't going to turn her down. Little geek and I often go to the cinema together. I have a Cineworld Unlimited card, so it's reasonably cheap afternoon out for the two of us. She wanted to go and see the new Pan film. If I'm honest, I also wanted to go and see this, as it looked like a great addition to the Peter Pan related films. We certainly were not disappointed, but this isn't a review about the film, but I highly recommend it. Back to the point of this post. Little geek is 11 at the end of this month, and like her older sister, our trips to the cinema, I'm sure, will become less and less frequent. And this makes me a little sad. Not to say they will stop altogether for little geek. As with Ashley, every now and then she's happy to go with me, but soon, as happened with her older sister, I will be replaced by friends and then boyfriends as well. No longer will it be cool for her to be seen with her dad at the cinema. It's a sign of me getting older and my girls growing up. Ashley will be 20 next year. How the hell did that happen? I won't be able to refer to her as the teenager anymore. And she's pretty much an occasional lodger at home. She's rarely in and pretty much uses her bedroom just as one big wardrobe. But back to the cinema. I enjoy these times with the girls. When you take into account the journey to the cinema, the 30 plus minutes of adverts, trailers, etc., gives us some good time to catch up, discuss what they have been up to, as well as talk about the films that are due to come out soon and what ones we'd like to go and see, as well as the ones we're about to watch. The missus rarely comes with us, but me and the girls are big film fans, and this is one way to spend some quality time with them, even if they get to spend a couple of hours not talking to me whilst the film is on. Probably their favourite part. The rate at which our kids are growing up is frightening. Few parents with younger children make the most of it, as it only seems like yesterday they were babies.
Thanks, John. The cinema is one of those great places for any parent to go with their kids, isn't it? It's just so much more than sitting down to watch a film.
It is. It's for me. It's an early memory, and ones that are coming back actually. With Star Wars was one of the first films I went and saw with my dad, and he tells everybody we meet at the moment that my first words when I went to the cinema with him was, "Core Dad, isn't that a big telly?" But and it's something that I really look forward to when we had kids, that I got to take them to the cinema, and you got to go and see those kids films that probably a bit awkward to go and sit on your own as an adult. But yeah, it's just brilliant, and it's good fun.
Yeah, I totally agree. Our kids are considerably younger than yours, of course, but I know exactly what you mean about the way time flies, as you talk about in the post. And I'm sure it will only seem like the blink of an eye before our kids are little geeks' age and then Ashley's age. So I guess we'd better enjoy it while it lasts, eh?
You really have to. People say it quite often, live in the moment, and I'm all for that. So enjoy it while they're young, but the rewards do come when they're older as well, but we should make the most of every minute.
Absolutely. So, John, thank you very much for taking the time to join me on this week's podcast.
No problem at all. Thanks for the opportunity.
If you want to read more of John's writing, go to his blog at dadyougeek.co.uk or follow him on Twitter at Dadyougeek. I'll attach blog and social media links on the show notes over on slouchingtowardsthatcham.com. Like John, I also love our sadly all too rare trips to the cinema, even if it's usually only to see the latest creation from Pixar or DreamWorks. Here are my thoughts from a trip to the movies earlier this year. So this post is called The Magic of the Silver Screen. As a child, there was always something magical about a big screen in a darkened theatre. As an adult, that magic remains. It has only been in the last year or so that we've started doing family trips to the cinema, but they've rapidly become a popular fixture during school holidays and bank holiday weekends. Yesterday, we all headed into Newbury to watch Home, the latest DreamWorks animation starring The Big Bang Theory's Jim Parsons and Rihanna, the pop singer who is to modest attire and wholesome lyrics what Nigel Farage is to befriending Albanian immigrants on Facebook. It's a simple, everyday tale about an alien race who invade Earth and forcibly relocate humans into mass internment camps, as you do. But they're cuddly, colourful, and make for great kid-friendly merchandise, so that's okay. Anyhow, I digress. The kids had been excited about this ever since they saw the trailer when we went to watch Paddington over Christmas. Being the 21st century children that they are, they've re-watched the trailers at least 20 or 30 times on YouTube since. The routine's now well established. Load up the kids with popcorn and fruit shoots. Regret not taking out a second mortgage to pay for said snacks. Sit down just in time for the start of the trailers, all 704 of them. Note down which ones we liked, so we can watch them again on YouTube later. Thumbs up this time round for the upcoming Peanuts movie, Inside Out, and, of course, Minions. Wait for film to start. Film begins. At first, all goes well. Lots of laughter and general appreciation. 20 minutes from the end, Toby will announce loudly that he's bored and wants to go home. At the moment of maximum jeopardy, I have a precise algorithm for calculating when this is. Isaac, our sensitive one, will break down in floods of tears, clutch my arm in a vice-like grip, and refuse to watch any more until I have officially sounded the all-clear. This will set off Toby too. Cara, meanwhile, is cackling with laughter because she's still young enough not to get scared by such things. Precisely 7 minutes from the end, we reach the moment of maximum bladder capacity, where one of the children will demand that they need the toilet right now and cannot possibly wait until the end. As a result, I will end up buying the film as soon as it is released on DVD, so I can watch the 5 minutes I inevitably miss. Film ends. A beaming Cara declares the film perfect. Toby, who despite his protestations has actually been rapped throughout, gives a non-committal shrug by way of verdict. Isaac bombards me with 100 questions about details of the film, of which I am able to answer approximately 7 without the aid of Wikipedia and IMDb. Thank God for the internet. Their verdict on Home? Fairly positive. Not as great as Paddington, but still one I suspect they're likely to come back to in the future, and which will no doubt be added to our DVD collection in the future. It's a far cry from the cinema-going experiences of my childhood. I was 8 the first time I was taken to the cinema to see Grease, at a time when the word multiplex hadn't yet been invented. We used to queue halfway round the block to get in, and then buy ice creams during mid-film theatre-style intermissions. I loved going to the cinema. Through my teenage years I would go once or twice a month, taking in everything from the blockbuster Star Wars, Indiana Jones and Bond series to the smaller mid-budget movies which seem to have become all but extinct in the wake of the megabucks, mega-merchandising franchises and family-friendly films that dominate our screens today. Even so, a trip to the cinema remains a source of great anticipation and excitement, for a parent as much as a child. Even with large-screen TVs, Blu-ray and Netflix, there's still magic in the air when the lights go down and that big screen fires up. And that's as it should be. And that's it for this episode of the Slouching Towards Thatcham podcast. If you'd like to listen to either future or previous episodes, you'll find them published on the blog, and also on iTunes and various other podcasting sites. You can follow me on the blog at slouchingtowardsthatcham.com, on Twitter at ThatchamDad, and on various other social media channels. You'll find links to all of the above, plus John's links, in the show notes on the blog. All that remains is for me to say thank you all for listening to this podcast, and hopefully you'll join me again next week. Until then, goodbye.